5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are here because the time has come. And now, welcome to the show that speaks truth, lifts up Christ, and unites Christians across the globe for one mission: reaching lost souls. Get ready, because Pastor Wendell Hutchins is here to break down what's happening in the world and give you the tools to conquer the enemy. This is your moment, your battle cry. This is Courageous Faith.
Welcome back to another Tuesday night podcast over here with the Courageous Faith podcast, based out of Houston, Texas, Church of Champions, with our Pastor Wendell Hutchins. Before we get started, I need you guys to partner with us. If you keep liking the words that we're giving you, everything that we're telling you, please, if you give to us, we put your name on a brick. You partner with us, you get your name put on a brick.
Yeah,
right there. You get to be a part of the show from here on out.
Yes, sir.
And welcome to another Tuesday night. How you doing, Pastor?
Good. How are you doing, Rocky?
Oh, I'm doing good.
And we have a special guest with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Member of the family.
Oh, yeah. Officially. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My father-in-law.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Mike Johnston. And we let everybody on the chat box, let Mike know you're glad to see him. We're honored and privileged to have him. We've been talking about getting you on, Mike, for quite a while. And
yeah, he's hard to get.
I know he's traveling all over the world. And so we're happy that he's in the sauna. We have an announcement about that, by the way.
What we got?
The hot box is supposedly being cured and healed tomorrow morning, 7:30, with a new air conditioner, because of so many of you who've been so kind to help us and so into Courageous Faith podcast. So thank you for all of the work you're doing. And we want to hear from you tonight. We want to know where you're watching from, and let us know how we can join our faith with yours. We're going to have a very lively podcast, and we're going to be having a conversation about something that touches us all. I don't believe there's any one of us that has been excluded from being touched by the calamity of culture that's taking place around us and affecting not only our families, but our children and those that we love dearly. So I'm excited about getting into that. We had a great time this past weekend. The Champions Food Truck Park is electric, with so many people that were just being, I think, blessed and having time to fellowship out there, even when it was threatening with lightnings and thunders and calamity. And we were out there and had a great time Sunday. We have some more vendors who have come on, and great food, some of the best in Houston. So we have that happening. We have a pickleball court stadium situation. I don't know what the official name is or what the title is, but they have like 6 or 7 courts over there, and just a wonderful place. So we're having a lot of partnerships. Optimal Family Care has just launched this week into behavioral health. And so we have an entire wing of that treatment taking place. And we're so excited about all the things that are happening. And we're excited about Courageous Faith and all of your hard work. You have been working night and day. I don't know how you run the businesses you have, because you had your own podcast this morning. Tell about that, Rooted and Rising.
Yes, sir. We're
going to have a link in the description below, so you can go and be sure and sign up and be a subscriber to Rocky's Rooted and Rising.
Rooted and Rising. Yeah. Episode is coming out tomorrow. We talked about the waiting, the in between, when your prayer and your blessing, when you're waiting on God. How do you act? What is your character? It's when you get revealed.
That's right. Well, and your life is defined by the in between.
Yes.
You have a date of birth and a date of death.
That's right.
But what you do between them
will
define the legacy that you will leave.
Amen.
I like your podcast. It's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Like listening to you and CC talk.
Yeah. That's good. So we're excited, and we're glad you're here tonight. You know, I've been getting into quite a bit of trouble lately, which is nothing new. I seem to stay in trouble.
That's why I love you so much.
Yeah. But we have had, I just really have seen an explosion of opportunities where so many families have been, I'm reluctant to use the word attacked, but they've been challenged and they've been met with great pressures. So some fundamental pressures that are happening in life seem to have been exacerbated over the last 6 months. A lot of questions, a lot of queries. And, when pressure is applied to a unit or to a union, the weaknesses, where the weaknesses are, they're the first to show their fault. Mm-hmm. So the more external pressure you have, if you don't have a compendium of internal pressure that matches that, you'll have a fuselage failure and a collapse. So a lot of great people are making mistakes because they've been overwhelmed by pressure. And so as I was praying through that and asking the Lord, these are great people. This is not their historicity. This is not normal. Mm-hmm. Help me help them. And suddenly I realized that we haven't been speaking enough to this generation. We've been speaking at them as if they know better. Mm-hmm. But the Lord really spoke to my heart and said, what if they do not know it all? Mm. And so tonight I kind of want to launch in that. We're calling July the month that we're going to be meeting with our ladies and really just pouring into them about the fundamentals of love. 1 Corinthians 13. What that means, what that looks like in reflection of God's love in the home. And then August is going to be the month for men. We're going to be pouring into them exclusively and talking about the same thing. What does it mean to be an awakened man? There's a lioness in all of our women, and there's a mighty warrior that should be in all of our men. So this morning I released a Substack, and if you've got it there, you can put that up. In fact, if you read the Substack, let us know in the chat box. Talk to me right now. Let me know what you thought about it. If you didn't like it, don't say that. Just tell me, we're waiting for next week, Pastor. Just put something like that. But if you received something out of that, I'd be very interested in hearing what it did for you, what that meant to you, and how it blessed you. So I want to jump into that. I want to get into that kind of conversation. And I'm so glad that Mike is here, because he has a unique background, very much akin to the kind of era, I'll use that word, that I grew up in, and where men were provoked to be men, were challenged to be men, and quite readily accepted that challenge. We were happy to. We were inspired to be all that we could be as a man.
We were proud to be men.
We were proud to be
Yes,
men.
Sir.
And so I think that there's been a war against that. And we don't have to belabor that point, because everybody that has any discernment knows the challenges that have come against men in the last 50 years. So this is not happenstance. It's been orchestrated. And it was a conspiratorial orchestration. And it's part of that 1934 movement that first moved into academia. But their ultimate goal was to move into the family unit, because they knew the diabolical nature of their design was that we must deconstruct the family unit. Right. And to do that, we have to attack both the man and the woman. And if we can do that, we can deconstruct the Western world, what it means to be a free and noble people. So I just want to jump into that tonight. And if you guys will ride the tide with us, so to speak, we'll be I'm sure we'll touch on something that will intrigue you, make you want to go study and look at it. But a couple of things, Mike. You came from the background of work, and I'm not going to speak all the time, so you guys better interrupt me and say something.
I'm waiting.
But you came out of the world of bodybuilding, and if I don't have all of my facts right, correct me. But just very much in the profession of really taking care of your health, being aware and being wise to what it meant to be a centrist in health. And back then, the Arnold Schwarzenegger era, men would become buff or built, or, they would have the muscles due to their dexterity and discipline. There were no pills. You know what I mean? I mean, if they were, we didn't know about them.
But the word here was pioneering your test.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, you were the test. The test.
I mean, Arnold was my mentor growing up.
Really?
He actually got me into the bodybuilding. The
Well, I knew that
magazines.
you were close to several of those.
I was
guys.
very, very close to several of the pro bodybuilders back in the day. But I mean, that's where it all started with me. I mean, I played football, I did all these different disciplines, but bodybuilding is really where it took off. Really.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And so at an early age, you were very much in tune and with the rhythm of recognizing that if I'm going to have the results that I want to have, I've got to put in the time and the work to merit and receive the consequences of that work.
Well, let's put this in context. So
Okay.
back then when we were doing all this,
Yeah.
all we had was magazines to look at.
Okay.
We didn't have cell phones. We
Right.
didn't have internet.
Right.
We didn't have anything.
That's right.
We had to learn by doing.
Right. That's right.
So,
And you had to have a relationship.
that's right.
You had to be able to touch somebody, talk to somebody.
Find a mentor.
Yeah.
Find a mentor.
And I know you're close to Labrada,
Mhm.
and he used to be my neighbor across
Yep.
the street from me. And so, I would watch him in fact, we started our church. That's where it started, in our living room, right across the street from his house. But I would watch, he and his friends would assemble every Saturday, and they'd have parties and so forth. And just the amount of discipline that was walking around on that plot of ground was men and women who were sold out to their craft. They looked at it as something that they gave themselves to wholly, and they expected to receive the rewards of that.
Yep.
And so going through the last several months of working with people, God spoke to me, and I was looking and really weeping for some people who had made some tragic miscalculations and mistakes, and trying to receive the results of something they had not sown, and trying to short circuit this root called experience and putting in the dutiful love to receive the return on that love. You know what I mean? In other words, if I'm married to my spouse and I want her to treat me a certain way, I'm expecting that outcome, but I have no idea what it takes to get it.
I have a quote that I say a lot. Your chapter 1 can't be my chapter 10.
That's right.
And just opposite. Yours can't be the opposite.
Say that again.
Your chapter 1 cannot be my chapter 10.
That's right.
Because of experience.
That's right.
But that's what people nowadays, they want to jump to chapter 10 without doing the hard work.
That's right. They want to read the front flyer.
That's right.
And know everything about it.
That's right.
Exactly.
And read the back page
Right.
and tell you what you wrote.
Exactly.
And, the thing about it is that you've got to, in this generation, when I was praying about this, the Lord spoke to me and said, they're good-hearted people. And so what if Christianity is speaking at them from the position of, you knew better than to do this, and this is why you're wrong? What if they don't know? And my heart opened, and just a floodgate opened, and I was weeping because it dawned on me, and I realized this generation, this Gen Z, Gen X, it's not that they're doing bad things. They don't even know what true masculinity is. They don't know what it's like to have a father teach you. They don't know what it's like to have a grandfather speak to you, a mentor, an Arnold.
Yeah, because men become oppressors now.
That's right. That's right.
Show them something different.
That's right. Say that again. Oppressive. They call it oppression. So if you get on to me, or if you're leading me, or if you're trying to instruct me, that has been in catechism, that's been formed as a doctrine of oppression. So I'm just, the floodgates of my life open, and I began to weep with a new compassion for some of the things that were frustrating me about the things people were doing. And I began to catalog it and look at it. And I said, okay. And I went back and talked to some of them, Mike, and they said, Pastor, we've never heard that. We didn't know that. We never realized that. And so that's when I said, we got to stop and call this the summer of love. And we've got to invest solely into ladies, right? And teach them what femininity really is in the eyes of God, and why he created it, because of what it completes in a man, and then what a man is and what he should be to his beloved. And so July is the month for ladies, and August is going to be the month of discussion for men, and we're going to have a blast. But getting into this, when you were doing this bodybuilding, when you were young and really kind of focusing your life in a certain direction, you took those same principles and leveraged them into your corporate life.
Well, actually, I did them together.
Yeah.
I mean, I did them together. So
his discipline, you were working out. You became in charge of everyone else who was doing that.
That's
what
right.
you were doing at
That's
CrossFit,
right.
etc.
Yeah. So back when I started in pharmaceuticals in 1991, back in bodybuilding started in 1986, but then I actually took over the organization in bodybuilding called the National Physique Committee. So I was actually doing the bodybuilding and also my job.
Right.
Yeah, I was encompassing.
And it was like
both.
having two
It
full-time
was
jobs.
two full-time job, but it was discipline to do that.
But you had to have that disciplinary formation and foundation
Absolutely.
to be able to achieve those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people see you today, see your lifestyle, see what you're blessed with, it's not, oh, he's just privileged.
Yeah.
They have no idea
Mm-hmm.
the price behind the label they
right.
They
call
don't know
privilege.
where he came from to where he's at today. They just see today.
That's right. That's right. And so many people are being insinuated in their life is this stream of venom to where it's victimology.
Mm-hmm.
But you're wrong because you have it,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have it. I didn't get an opportunity for it. But those people have no idea what you did to get where you are,
Mm-hmm.
and they won't live through the process and the sense of experience that it takes to move from novice, in that bodybuilding business, where you have ranks.
That's right.
So you have, what is the first rank? Novice.
Then you go up to open, go to national qualifier, and then you eventually hopefully turn pro. But the funnel gets smaller,
very
and smaller.
narrow.
Yeah, it gets only 4% of the people that bodybuild actually turn pro.
That's right.
But it's a very, very upside down funnel
But it's the same thing in baseball.
and everything.
Same thing
Yeah.
and that's why I think there's a great failure on the part of mothers and fathers who put so much pressure on their kids to be a professional basketball player or to be, a bit professional. I used to joke all the time when I was younger and preaching all over the country. It would have been very unfair for my father to expect me to turn pro and be a basketball player. There's just some things white men don't jump.
That's right.
That's
and
awesome.
and 5'9" men can't dunk.
I always say I'm too white and too slow.
That's it. And we can't dunk the ball. So
That's right.
that's not prejudice. That's not
That's
mean.
reality.
That's just a fact, right?
Mhm.
And so I think there's so much disservice done to young people that have so much pressure put on them
Mm-hmm.
to try to find their way into extraordinary lifestyles because they have to become a sports figure.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
That's a lot of pressure on a kid.
Well, and exactly, but it's that same funnel.
That's right.
It's that upside down pyramid that says only 1% of the kids that play college basketball are going to be pro.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so you're an extraordinary person, gifted athlete to even get in that conversation. And so what are you doing about your scholastic endeavors, your academic achievements? You know what I mean? Where are you putting that? So tonight, I just want to open the floor and have a conversation about discipline, and it can be about anything. It doesn't matter whether you own a business, you're running your business, running your family. Your family is a business and to some degree. If you pay your taxes on time, it's a business, right?
Yep.
And how you steward your family, your passions, your even your hobbies. Do you do that as an outlet, or are they in charge and they're part of your idolatry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I call it an idolatrous portfolio, but anyway, that's
Going to Mike though, when I remember, because I know where he's at in his career.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first conversations I had with him, I asked him, like, how did you do this? What did you and I'm thinking he's gonna give me something pretty recent. He did this, that, boom. He went all the way to high school where his job, high school and college, of him being a lifeguard. He was telling me how he led that team and how he was there. And he gave me like in detail, like, oh yeah, I learned how to do this, learn how to lead here, and I was like, what? How's that got to do with you're doing now? Like, what is, but all
it
that,
all connects. It all connects.
Well, it's leadership principles.
Absolutely.
And those places of experience and service hone those leadership skills. So it's one thing to learn it. You know, that's where so much of this hopelessness is arising out of Gen X and Gen Z, is they're going to school and they're learning. They're not really learning. They're in tune with and they're downloading a lot of information, but the information has no outlet to change them because they don't know how to engage it in experience. So you talk about that in your business when you see these young kids coming on and the challenge that we have at our age, they want to come on board. They want to get a $500,000 signing bonus and want to know how many months it's going to be before they're chairman.
That's right. It's tough. I mean, with what I do for a living, pharmaceuticals, it's all about knowledge, relationships, and who you know. Yep. But you have to have vision. You have to be a forward thinker because things are always changing. And that brings me up to a Bible verse that I read today, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people will perish.
That's it.
And, you know, I'm a strong believer in that. You've got to have vision. So
always.
I mean, I'm always looking for the next best, you know, always trying to be ahead of the curve because you never know what's going to change. And if you're already there, then you just tackle it.
That's right.
But these kids nowadays they won't.
Well, don't you think it's a challenge? And this is part of kind of the journey that I've been on diagnosing this. It's crystal clear to me, unless I'm extremely jaded. And if I am, please tell me in the chat box. But I've come to the conclusion, Mike, and you may disagree with this. Let me know if you do. But I believe that we're almost to a point in society in the deconstruction process where they've stripped kids of learning how to acquire knowledge by osmosis.
Yep. I agree.
So
I agree.
The idea of generating a knowledgeable group through, or a base of people through pure osmosis is gone. So when you lose osmosis, when you lose the ability to learn by osmosis, you kill any element of hope that you had in discerning. You couldn't possibly forecast what might be because you can't see.
That's right.
Right. So when you extrapolate that and lay it over theology teaches you that seeing, right? Jesus said this in John 3. You must see, you must enter the kingdom of God. And then he emphatically said, you cannot see the kingdom of God. You can't even discern it. You can't appreciate it. You won't be able to recognize it because your vision is gone, right? You don't have the vision for it. And I think that comes back to our generation. We're looking for opportunities. You know, we have a huge campus here. What is that property doing? What can it yield? What can we make it become? Right. And there's always that kind of conversation going on where other people can march around in the woods for 100 years and not have anything happen. But a stray cow graze across it and go, there's a cow on our property. Like, you could have had a development here. You could have done something with that to generate something. And if you take that same construct and apply it to your own individual life, there's a lot of people living below their privilege because they have not put in the work to discover who they are.
And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Well, let's talk about that.
Well, okay. I mean, I'll just bring it up with what I do for a living, pharmaceuticals. Not with the company I'm with now, but with previous companies, you'll get a boss that doesn't know half what you know. But he's your boss.
Right.
And he's just there privileged because he knows somebody, or, you know, his dad works for the company, and you're doing a real disservice to a company when you do something like that. So,
well, you kill all momentum.
That's right.
You stymie any growth. You know, that's what there's a lot of people that have various opinions and they may be all valid, but guys like Elon Musk as electric and charged as they can make an atmosphere, and their opinions, their words mean something.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are on another level of vision, and they don't look at impossibility like we look at it. What we call impossibility, they're looking, that's the next opportunity.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's because they think 10 moves ahead.
Right.
You don't want to play chess with these
No,
people.
they're playing 5D chess.
Exactly. The owner of my company, I mean, when I'm with him, he's always thinking 10 steps ahead of me. And it's incredible that he just got this knowledge base.
That's it. And they're devouring information. They're exploring. And so that brings me to a conversation that we were talking about, or I sent you a text about. So what kicked off this thing for me was this reality that young people don't know anymore. They don't know a father's tone.
Mm.
Their fathers were absent or perhaps deceased or gone.
Mm-hmm.
There are whole segments of our population that they've never had a father.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a huge vacuum in their life. So they've never been trained in the disciplines to produce love. What is love? How many degrees are there to love?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know, right? And so what we would consider very fundamental and elementary, like bread and butter, and it's not a big deal and everybody knows it. We've got to stop. To me, I'm convicted. I've got to stop assuming that they know it and they're just disregarding it to the idea they've never heard it. They don't know about phileo love. They don't know about storge love. They don't know about eros love. They know nothing about the agape love, where they originate from, how they work. And we learn those things, Mike, at 12 and 13 years of age.
And we didn't have the internet.
No.
They got everything at their fingertips nowadays.
Our parents were providing us the opportunity to go and sit in stadiums or sit in coliseums or sit in, some conference or seminar. That's what they made us do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to the library and read.
That's right.
And so it just, I feel this great weight and this huge sense of compassion for young people. And I'm talking up in their 30s now, Gen X, Gen Z, that they just literally don't know. And so their concept then is being defined. Since they don't know that, then love is being preached to them through IG and TikTok.
Yeah, like you said, there's no osmosis anymore. How could you know what love is, what marriage is, if you're not been around a successful one?
That's it.
Correct.
It's all
That's
here.
it. That's it. So if you counterbalance that, if the reality is they may not know the information, forget the fact they're disregarding it. What if they don't even know it?
Just don't know it.
Yeah,
to disobey against it or to disregard it completely.
Like how you're saying, I want to have that high paying job. Right? I want to have that marriage and be successful, but they don't know when you get married, it's going to be work.
That's right.
And then,
it's a sense of eternal, there's an eternality to it. Right. So if I make a vow to God, that means I gave my word.
Right.
And this study that came out this week, Stanford and a couple of other schools had a cross collaboration of a worldwide study, but they were targeting Gen Z and Gen X specifically. And I think the Gen X are the ones that stood out. And they said they have no hope. It was like 89.95% of those who were respondents to the survey said they live with no hope that they will ever enjoy true commitment. Can you believe that?
I mean, this past week alone, probably a week and a half, I've seen 3 videos that come across my feed, how women are in their late 30s, early 40s, and they're crying because they didn't commit to this one guy because they thought they could do better. They deserve better. And now they're single and no kids, and why did I let that person? And they're upset because they didn't choose when they were younger to do the right path because they thought they themselves were supposed to be.
And Tina Turner's the one that's saying, "What's love got to do with it?"
What's love got to do?
I mean, when you're talking about that, so those young ladies didn't even know what love was. What about the attraction of love? What about the symphony of love? Like, did you choose me because of the job I had, or did you love me?
Yeah,
right. And so there's so much that has been interwoven and layered and intricately designed into the psychotic failure of people, to where now they don't expect love, they don't believe in love, they don't have love, and they don't believe love will flourish. They don't believe it will continue. So when you go into a relationship, you're expecting a failure rather than a complementary union.
It's also because if you don't know how to love, how can you love God? Your love for God fails too, because you expect Him.
But that's what the word says. How can you say that you love God when you have not seen Him, but you cannot love your brother? So read, the Apostle John was excoriating the church because of their behavior, their temporal behavior with one another. And he said, how can you say that you love God, but you do not love your brother? You know what I mean? You don't love one another. And so, there's a few studies that came out just this past week that have kind of confirmed for me this leadership of what the Lord's been kind of waking me up to and giving me a real compassion for, because before, I thought, man, there's plenty of resources. People they can watch videos, they can get it, but it's not about the information. It's about the transmission of a fatherly voice saying, son, if you'll do this, you'll reap this if you'll stay with it. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week. It's like nobody, Mike, today, when I was growing up, there were huge celebrations given to an employee that was there with a company for 25 or 30 years.
And that's unheard of now.
That's completely unheard of.
Yeah. No loyalty.
There's no loyalty. They don't even expect it.
Both ways, there's no loyalty.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. They don't
nowadays
expect it.
to get a promotion, you have to quit a job to go to another job.
That's right.
I mean,
you have
come on.
Well, because we've adopted a free agency lifestyle, and it's that's crept into the mentalities of our relationships. It's very narcissistic. When you look at the psychology of it, you're becoming utilitarian in your relationships. I'm in this relationship because of what you can do for me. But the moment you stop doing that for me, I no longer need you.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. One of the best things the resume people ever told was only go back 10 years. Because if I didn't, I'd have like a 30-page resume.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so I think it's a very unique time. We have the world before us. We have a world to win to Jesus Christ, but the world we're trying to win is looking for somebody that knows real love.
That's right.
And if we have a platform, a standard that says we love people back to the passion and purpose of Jesus Christ, but when people rub shoulders with us, they don't sense that same kind of love. And I'm not saying that's happened, but I'm just saying, if we act as if we're a deer in headlights when love meets us, then our testimony is fraudulent. Right? Yep. So this is really, it's impacted me, and I want to see people. My great burden is people will embrace and enjoy the kind of love that I was blessed with. When I was very young, I married an Indian. So in their tradition, you could marry at 10 years of age. And so I got married at 10. That's why I look so young. You're supposed to be laughing. People are going, what in the world is he talking about? But seriously, we were married almost 49 years ago. And we thought at that age, Mike, and you can relate to this, we thought we knew what love was. Again, this is back before internet. I told somebody the other day, I can't remember who I was speaking to, but it was a group of people. So if I'm repeating myself, forgive me. But, if we were dating people from across town, that was really getting out and stretching your wings. Like, that's a whole different clan over there. Today, young people are able to converse across the world. They think nothing of dating somebody from South America or Europe, and they'll take a weekend and go see them. That happens quite often, more than you would think. My point is, people love difference. They're intrigued by difference. And as you start a union, as you begin to meld together into oneness, and that's the beauty of real love, is agape love doesn't originate from us. It originates from God and given to us. And most people have their whole concept misconstrued because they think love is their feeling.
That's right.
So if my feelings change, that means my loves have changed.
Right.
And that's why you see so many people say, well, I did love you, but I've changed.
And you never did love me.
Exactly.
You never did love me.
Exactly. So I think those are the kind of hard conversations that I call them straightforward conversations that people would benefit from.
Well, even reading your Substack, like I did, reading it was enlightening because of the roles. You forget about the roles that man and woman play in the marriage. You forget you become one.
That's
so
right.
Like
that's right.
You
So it's not
one.
competition.
Exactly.
It's not competition. It is complementation.
That's right. That's
You
right.
complement one another, because if that darling over there is not bringing the best out of me, the world will never know the best in me. She's the only one that can do it. She is the illuminating fire and power that God gave my life.
I agree.
Most people don't understand that.
No.
She's your rib.
But you have to be married to a good woman to realize
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they have to know this stuff.
That's right.
If the lady doesn't know it, she won't be aware of it. If the young man doesn't know it, he won't be aware of it. And so every fracture, every opportunity that there is difference and challenge, it can become very negative, rather than saying, wait a minute, let me learn how you see this. Right. And I was always intrigued by her family, the stories of her family. And I joke around all the time, but I really loved the exploration of her family roots, her trees, who they were, what their history was. And I felt like I was so much the richer for knowing that and learning that. Right. Because on my side of the family, the story is well known, but after you know something, it becomes boring. So what is it that God wants to put in my life to bring out of me what I can't see about myself? The helpmeet.
Yeah.
That's right.
So in that Substack, I don't know if you have that there, but I made this statement about Adam was created out of the dust of the ground and breathed upon the pneuma, the Greek word there, breathed into him the breath of life, and he became a living soul. But when God created Eve, he didn't create her out of the ground. He brought her out of Adam's side. And that wasn't because she was going to be subjugated to him and he was going to be domineering. That's not even love. That's not what I'm talking about. She came out of his side because she became the portion, the brilliance, the exclusivity of everything that was great in that man. So a man cannot really be known in his greatness if the woman that God had ordained for him is not bringing that brilliance out of him. Does that make sense?
You said we have forgotten the feminine was not made from dust, but from the side of Adam, intimately fashioned to be one with him, to reflect something heaven had not yet revealed.
That's it. I said a lot better writing than I do speaking, but that's exactly right.
Rose, my wife, I mean, she brings out the best in me. She gets on to me. She gets mad at me, but I know it's only because she wants me to do better, and she knows I can do better.
Right.
So she pushes that hard button, but it motivates me to do my things.
That's right. That's right. And they love you and they support you. And because you know her so well, you can receive it as such.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like she wants the best for me. So it's not this buttress and this incompatibility. It's somebody's pushing me to do something I've never done before.
But you know, the thing is, it just makes me so mad, but I know she's right.
That's it. That's it. Well, and you know, I look back on the times in my life where I would say, you know, I'm tired, and she has a way of snapping her head, and she said, "Let me tell you something. We've never seen the righteous forsaken or a seed out begging bread. We've never been defeated. We've never let anybody back us in this kind of, we're coming out of this, you know." And it was like God breathed into her a word that I should have been saying, right? But I was so tired and weak and worn that I needed her to bring that out of me. And boy, when she started talking like that, I mean, flex my shoulders and say, you're right. You're right.
There's the compliment right
That-
there. Y'all
that-
compliment each other.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's what I desperately want young people to have in their own life.
Well, it's up to us to be leaders and mentors.
That's it.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I'm very encouraged, and I'm excited about really creating, I've said it for years and we've never done it because we've always had a lack of resources or we have some excuse, but I really am committed. I want to take these kids. I'm so proud of Kelton and our 210 team. They've rented a facility down on Galveston. They're going to have a summer camp this summer. They're gonna be doing a kids camp for them. But I want our young people, our young men, to know what it is to go out on a ranch and sit by a campfire
Work
and learn how to work and then go out and harvest a hog or a doe or something and learn how to come back and dress that meat and eat from the fruit of their labor. I mean, instantly, there's something that awakens in a young man. The masculinity in him comes alive.
It's called self-gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
But we got to have mentors that will do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We got to have men that will pay the price to take a young man that doesn't have a father.
But that reminds me of another Bible verse, Matthew 10:43. Whomever wants to be a great leader must be a servant first.
That's it.
Jesus Christ, I mean, he served us.
That's right.
He served the people. He died on the cross. But
That's right.
Yeah, he was a leader, but he
That's
was
right.
a servant first.
That's right. And he said to us in his departing sermon, if you will, he told us to tarry in Jerusalem and wait until we be endued with power from on high for one specific purpose, to do his exploits and to do them greater. Greater things than these shall ye do.
That's right.
And he said, this is the engagement. This is the corollary. This is what the church looks like. They didn't call it the church then. They didn't know about the church. That was before it was born. But he said, this is what the kingdom of God looks like in action, in shoe leather. And so I'm very, very excited about this summer, getting those young people, that 20 to 30 something, and just opening up the floor and not talking at them, but just opening the floor and saying, talk to me.
And take all this social media away.
Yes.
For
yes.
the weekend,
Before we go, can we talk about that? The impact that social media has had on Gen Z and Gen X. They're the really, we kind of saw all of that develop. I can't remember the next generation. They're the ones that kind of perfected. They ran all the test pilots on them. But Gen X and Gen Z are the people that have lived with technology to the degree they can't live without it.
Cyborgs.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So I guess the last thing I want to bring up is the impact that's had on them. Their doctrines, their theology, their philosophy, their concepts, even about life is, we've got this character in New York City that's running for mayor that is an absolute devout communist. And he says so. I didn't say that. He said it. And he's made an argument and he's won a vote based on that bracket, that 20 to 30 bracket. And because he has absolutely inundated them and changed their psychology about what they think socialism and communism is.
Yeah.
One man with an argument with the right platform and technology.
That's right.
Can reap a whirlwind. And
One's already done it before.
Yes. So that just shows you the negative influence that social media. What can happen if we unite together? We're doing podcasts, we're doing all of this, but we've got to have people that share this material. We got to have people get on and like it, share it. Substack, same thing. I had a gentleman tell me he was going to be watching tonight from Rochester, New York. And he started following me, found me on Substack, said, man, this is fantastic. So thank you, David. But listen, we got to use technology for the good that can be in it. But we can't use that as the platform that defines our life. We can't find the perfect woman on some platform.
So I had been off of social media for 4 years, almost five years, actually, all the way to January this year.
Okay.
2025.
Tell me about
January
that.
2020. I got away from it because I got into a relationship. I was getting it when I was like, I want to take this serious. All this is feeding me. Your algorithm is made for you.
Yes.
Your algorithm is made for you personally.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own algorithm.
Yeah.
And they know they know everything that you do. Your phone looks at you every single. They know how your eyes work when you look at this and how people dilate everything. And if you got an Apple Watch, they know how your heartbeat goes with it too. So they know you really like this.
That's right.
So they're gonna keep feeding you things.
Is that why you got a bright link? Get away from that.
I got away because no technical watch.
Speaking of that, you'll get a kick out of this. Did you know? And maybe I'm late to the party, but did you know Fitbit was bought by Google?
Wow.
Oh.
So now they're
All that
making you
information.
they're making you transfer your account to a Google Fitbit.
Wow.
That's taking all of your data.
They want everything
and importing that into a more definitive portrait of who you are.
Exactly.
You probably know where we're going to go eat lunch tomorrow.
They're going to know what you do before you even do it.
Exactly.
I mean, I've heard of stories when I was in school, and I've heard of stories how there was girls who got caught being pregnant by their parents because Target knew what they were looking at.
Oh my goodness!
Through their credit card purchases and everything.
Oh
they
my
would send
goodness!
letters in the mail, and that's how. So they know everything. But it's a spiritual attack. They don't want you to know.
That's right. That's right.
It literally is, and they're trying to distort what love is. You don't need to be in love. Love's fake. Marriage is fake.
That's right. Well, they've just like they've done with so many words in our vocabulary. They've rewritten the encyclopedic knowledge of what we think words are. But long ago, Satan interchanged lust with love.
Yep.
And so, but going back to your point, I was needing something. I have to take a quick trip, and I was needing something for that trip. And I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Do you think that I can find this at Luggage and Leather Outlet?" And I was just talking to her in our kitchen, and I looked down at my phone, and I had 3 things on Facebook from Luggage and Leather Outlet.
Wow.
Now,
if that's not disturbing,
that's very disturbing.
Well, because we give them access. Even go to your settings on your phone, and in what apps have microphone settings, you'll be surprised which all of them have your location, your microphone, and camera settings. So you gave them all the permissions, so now they're listening all the time.
So if we confuse that algorithm with the word Jesus over and over and over, I wonder what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're saying about kids don't know love. Well,
you get those pictures that say, if you love Jesus, send it to somebody else.
Yeah,
one of those.
That's why I got back on it, because over the summer you were real big on digital evangelism and doing your part, and it really started convicting me. I was like, I need to start doing my part. I don't need to talk about anything else but God. If I'm gonna be on here, here's about God.
That's right.
If I'm gonna post something, it's motivated.
It's got to be. Don't ever talk about luggage. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
That's the only platform I do. I've never done Facebook, Instagram, any of those things ever. I truly think social media be the demise of our population.
Well, when you go back and you interface everything that's going on with technology, where social media is involved, you see the very same implements that were used to deconstruct Rome. The fall of Rome it's almost like we're running the same exact plays of Rome. When you see yesterday, the news cycle was covered and filled with confused men that are parading all over the country, and they're talking about they're liberated men. And I'm going to tell you what, if any one of them was my son, they would be whipped and I'd be in jail because they're not a man. And so how do we defeat that? We got to stand up and start talking about what truth is. Let me tell you what a real man is. You know what I mean?
They don't know they're being attacked. They don't. It's distorting their reality.
It is an absolute. Years ago, who was it, Mike? You might remember this, but years ago, was it Sun Tzu or one of those that wrote back in the 15th century or something?
The Art of War.
Art of War. and it was what we would call today the water torture, that slow drip, and the dastardly things that happen to you psychologically over just a small incremental drip of a drop of water.
Well,
and that's what they've done to our psychology with technology.
Well, you see a stalactite and a stalagmite, they're created just by drops
That's right.
over thousands and thousands of years.
That's right.
But it overtakes and it wins.
That's right.
So,
and that's what they've done is they've been saturating the socio framework of our culture since 1934. They came out of the closet in 1934. They'd been designing it in the 1800s. And so these are people that are Luciferians, and they hate the freedoms that we have in this country as a result of our Judeo-Christian ethic. People that believe in Jesus Christ believe that there's an individual freedom that only is found in him. So I want that same thing for young people. Morgan would say, let's read look at this. I see Morgan on here. She said, Daddy would whip us. He will whip us now. He will whip me now.
Yeah.
Oh, Morgan, don't say that. I'm going to get in trouble.
She said she removed herself from social media last month and how freeing it is.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
It's freeing, right?
She's not on there, huh?
Yeah.
My son, I spanked my son one time growing up.
Yeah.
One time. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. My dad never.
And he still remembers it.
Oh, I guarantee you. My dad only corrected me one time physically, and I woke up flat on my back floating in a swimming pool.
It's sad to
and
say,
you probably deserve to remember that.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I remember the date my dad last with me. He made me remember it. He's like, remember this date.
Yeah.
Why he did it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, going back to your statement, Mike, it didn't take but one time.
That's right.
It didn't take but one time. He gave me a curfew one time, and I was 5 minutes late with that one over there. But we were tied up. We had a flat tire on the vehicle we were riding in, and I had no control. We were passengers in another car, and it took us a while to get it corrected. And so it put me behind getting home. Well, he had locked the doors, and he made me sleep out in the car all night long in the middle of August with mosquitoes buzzing and all. And I told him, I said, Daddy, you don't love me. He said, oh, I love you very much. I love you enough to teach you a lesson you will never forget in your life. And he said, you'll never be late again.
My mama used to do the same thing. Lock the door.
He said, you'll never be late again.
That's right.
So I'll tell you what, I had a place to go. I had a default.
I started leaving a pillow on the bench on the front yard.
Oh my God. So, but those are the men that raised us. They said what they meant, and they meant what they said.
That was family values, though.
That's family values, and it gave us a security.
That's right.
We knew that we were loved, and we knew that we felt secure in that love. And it breaks me at 65 years of age to realize whole generations have never had that. It's not that they don't want it. They've never had it.
Well, it's because they're going to social media for that security.
That's right.
They're not getting it from their family.
That's
they have
right.
to get it off the internet. People they don't know, have never met, and
tangible
probably never
items.
will meet.
That's right. And that's where you get so much of this handling going on.
That's right.
Just, oh my God, predatory characters play on that. So if the church steps into that void, and men are given permission to discover what real manhood is, and I've used this quite a bit. I think I used it in the Substack. If not, I've certainly have it in the Bible study for men. But John Eldridge wrote a book years and years ago called Wild at Heart. And it is a book that every man ought to read just to reignite the passion for their permissions. It's a permission slip. It's like, hey, I can go do this. I don't care what culture says, and I don't care what society thinks. I'm a man, And so, I'm excited about that, and I want to get into it. Bill Smith said, "You never stop being a parent," and I don't think there's any more truth stated tonight than that.
I agree.
You never stop being. You think I've heard so many people tell me, "Well, my kids, they only have 3 more years, and when they leave, I'm getting rid of them, and then I'm going to do this. And I'm thinking to myself, honey, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Right.
when they leave, they come back with 3 or 4 more.
That's right. And all you can do as a parent is just be there to welcome them back.
That's right. That's
all
right.
you can do.
That's right. And you love them, but your family grows, and that's part of it. But when you're young and you think, well, I'm going to have some sense of freedom after they're gone. And the truth is, you don't want that to happen. You really want to see a continuation of that legacy. But
the only good positive thing when they leave is you get a bump in your paycheck. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And so Bill Smith said, you never stop being a parent. And that is true. So Sabrina, I've been looking for you. I've been worried about you and hadn't heard from you. But is there anybody else on here? Johnny?
Johnson. Johnny joined our Bible study. He was at our Bible study last Thursday. Yep. Came over to the house.
Can I say hi to Morgan?
Yes.
Hi, Morgan.
Yeah. So Johnny's gonna hopefully, Johnny, I've already asked you to do this. Hopefully he's gonna be one of the leaders every now.
Oh, that's good.
He can.
That's good. Well, he's a man of great wisdom, and I love him. He's been with me since he was a late teenager.
Wow.
Maybe early 20s. I don't know.
He's always a mentor to him then.
Yeah, he's always youthful. So I can't tell, but I see Morgan and Johnny and brother. Hey, Larry Ragland, Bishop, what's going on, man? We're excited about seeing you. Bruce Severson. Here's a man that spent all day Sunday serving as a leader in this church at the hospital. He went straight in fact, he left church early. We had someone that was picked up by an ambulance, taken to the hospital, and he and his wife went and followed the ambulance, went to the hospital and stayed till late that night.
Wow.
They've been with him today, picking them up, taking care of them.
That's right.
And then Larry Alexander is one of our great elders, and what a man of integrity and wisdom he is. And we love him.
I was real impressed with Chet this weekend in your service.
Talk about that.
Just the mere fact that he has to go to. So we talked about going to India,
right?
And he does his missionary work. India is dangerous.
Yes.
And if you're a missionary, that's even more dangerous.
That's right.
And for him to go over there and preach the word of God like he does, very impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah.
So,
and you have some connections with India. So, you're not saying that because you read it out of a book.
No, whenever I would go to India, we always had people with us.
Right.
Always. We always had security there.
It is one of the most challenging places on earth to be as a Christian. Yeah. And then a lot of people are being persecuted. And I see Rhonda. Man, I'm glad to see all of these people, and thank you for being here. We just had an open discussion tonight. We're not here to do anything other than Sister Shirley. I see. I can't leave her out. My God, there's so many people. I don't want to miss anybody. But if it wasn't for Shirley and Ray, I don't know where we would be on this podcast. They've been such a stalwart supporter.
And Kelly's here too.
Kelly. Oh yeah, Kelly Peterson.
Melissa from Minnesota.
Oh, we love Melissa. And she's probably having some great weather up there now.
Oh yeah.
We're in a cooker here.
We are.
But we're going to wrap it up. But I love you guys, and I thank you. If you would, one more time, let Mike and Rocky know how much you love them. We missed Brian tonight. He was out of town. And he'd been on a trip, and I think he was returning late this evening. So we missed him. Is this his second week in a row?
Second week.
He's missed. Yeah. So if he misses one more time, he's got to start over. You lose all your benefits, right? You go back to first base.
Yeah.
So yeah, his work schedule and travel, but it's summertime. That happens. And we're glad he was able to get away. I'm not sure if it was work related or not, but if he was able to get away and enjoy it, well, God bless him. But we love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this happen. Mike, you have any parting words you want to say about leadership and discipline?
I had all these notes, but you know what? Caught my tongue, but I just want to say thank you for having me on here.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. We love you. And I'm so excited about you helping us create and craft a platform where we can engage these younger generations and really be a voice to them that maybe they've never had. and show them a side of life that they've longed to discover. And if we can do that, we're doing the right thing.
Absolutely. 100%.
So I love you guys. We're going to pray for you. Lord Jesus, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for Rocky and Mike. We thank you for every one of those who've joined us this afternoon for this discussion. And we're asking you to awaken in every man the spirit of a warrior and help them realize that you call them to be conquerors, and ask you, oh God, to move in every one of our ladies to show them the brilliance and the glory and the joys of the femininity and the firmament that you've given them to rule and reign in the household, allowing them to touch their children and affect their household with love that only they can demonstrate and make it a radiant place of joy. In Jesus' name, we ask you to heal everyone in their body, their soul, their mind, and their spirit, and bless them in their coming in and going out. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We love you, and we can't wait to see you this week on campus or anywhere in our digital platforms. God bless you.